Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and squirrels from around the world, and of course, one of my favorites, Rabbit. Thank you very much for coming by. Good to see you, Rabbit. Good to see you. Yeah, I was not, I was not planning on going as late as I did last night. I'm so glad you came by and hung out with with me and the boys. It got crazy last night. Some point we all went over to Lincoln Kane, and yeah, 4 o'clock in the morning is the time I finally hung my hat and closed everything down to get some rest. Whew, it was a long night last night. I wish I would have done the same thing. I really wish I would have done the same thing and gotten some sleep. Oh my gosh. It was fun. It actually was a really good time. I ended up picking up some subs because of it, which was amazing. That I was able to, just randomly pick up some wonderful, wonderful new subs. And yes, of course, I am streaming over on Rumble at the same time. So if this channel ever gets removed, you know where to find me over there. But yes. So last night, a lot of people, in the chat probably wouldn't know, but we had Valhalla on yesterday, which was unbelievably. I'm so gracious to have him on and be a good friend, because he really is. He's such good people, and so I sent him an invite. Oh gosh, whenever I got back in town, because I wanted to cover some of the cashmere goats that we were talking about. I thought it was going to be a really good show, which it was so enjoyable. I mean, just it really was. And then at the end, I sent out an invite to my favorite mod, Rabbit, and I'd also sent out an invite to Expert, the Expert, have him, if he was interested in coming by and just, hanging out, shooting the shit. And we had, Winning Reality invited him to come by. And of course, Valhalla, being the mod that he is, sees that one of his friends is running a stream and saying, oh, we should check this out. So I was looking at it and I noticed he had a link up that anybody could come in and link in, and he would bring you into the chat, and or into the show. And so we all, except for Rabbit, because Rabbit needed some sleep. I think it was about midnight at the time, 2, 1, I don't know, it was getting late. So all three of us, me, Expert, Winning, all jumped over there and proceeded to have one of the most insane times possible. It was unreal and it was fun. Quite hilarious, because what he had going on was 12:45. Yeah. So 1 o'clock. Yeah. So 3 more hours we were on. Yeah. Almost 3 hours. We were still on Lincoln's, and it got crazy. It got really crazy. The way that he runs it over there is he finds people that are like us, that talk a whole bunch. And what he'll do is people will pay him to have him, like, move him into Megan Fox was over there. not that Megan Fox, Gina Painted Expert. Yes, Gina was so good. But they would just boot him out of there and put him in the back room. They would pay him money to put him in the back room. It was so a different way of running it, and everybody that was getting put in the back room was having fun. They were actually having a really good time. But yes, Gina did paint the Expert. It was so just amazing to watch. Just amazing. So if you ever get a chance, go check out Lincoln Kane. He's fun. He's fun, and he seems like a pretty straight up guy. Kathy and Gina backstage for talking too much. It's okay. It's okay. It was an absolute blast. I had a great time. And like I said, I ended up picking up some wonderful subs that, came and checked it out, and now I've got more people that are getting exposed to my weirdness. I've also got this I've got another show that I do besides this. So this is one of them. And the reason I started doing the Federalist Papers in the first place is because it's not a real enjoyable read, just to give a little bit of perspective to why our Constitution was ratified. And it makes oh, hey, Melissa Jane, good to see you. I think Melissa Jane even came back by there. Should be self-exposed. I didn't expose anything. Yeah. I went back and did a little bit of the rewatch, and yes, that was not fun for Harold to go after Valhalla. I mean, Valhalla, he's yeah, he is who he is, and he's not a grifter like that, as you can tell, because his channel, he doesn't do a whole lot on his channel. He comes and hangs out with other people, and he is the support mechanism that makes everybody just feel good and happy. Man, I've got storms rolling in tonight, so that means the dogs are going to be acting crazy. No, he is the ultimate support mechanism, and I can't see why anybody would want to go after Valhalla. He's such a good person. I just enjoy him so much, and we don't always agree on everything, but we enjoy each other's company. Enjoy each other's company so much. Yes, that's it right there, Rabbit. You hit the nail on the head. He is enjoying life so much. Oh, Melissa, we went over to Lincoln Kane's stream last night, which, hell, it still might be running live for all I know. It was running live sometime at noon. I just happened to see on my feed that it was still running live, but there was someone on there that basically was trying to say that Valhalla was using stolen valor and crap like that, and Valhalla was just like, listen, I served my time, I did my shit, so fuck off kind of attitude. And he is righteously upset about it. So, but yeah, Harold goes after everyone. Valhalla is a good guy. Oh, absolutely. Valhalla's like, he's straight up. He would back anybody up, and he doesn't like the stolen valor either. So there's he calmed down. He calmed down. Yeah, it's not cool, but it's also the internet, and I think Valhalla also realized that yeah, it's the internet, and people are going to be asses, and that's how it goes. But like, well, Yingling, man, Yingling. Yeah, never rile a goat master. Never rile a goat master. But yeah, Valhalla's cool. He's, he even said, I'm pretty sure later on the stream, because I skipped over some of the stuff, and he came back and was like, yeah, it's cool, whatever. I just, he's got things that works out. Once he works it out, he's absolutely fine with it. He understands that it is the internet, and people are going to be, a little bit of a shit sometimes. So he's good. He's good. Val understands how the internet works. He doesn't like it, but he understands. Yes, Valhalla is like the nicest person. He would bend over backwards to help anybody. I mean, and he's just got so much love in his heart. Like like that compassionate love that you just don't find too often in this realm. Hair holders for content. He tries to create friction. Yeah, the channel got taken down. Well, yeah, it'll happen whenever you tend to, show pictures of weed, crap like that. Yeah, that doesn't always go over too well with the YouTube folks. They're not always happy with that. But that's how it goes. Like I said, all good people, all good show. I think everybody is fine. Well, hopefully they're fine this morning. We would like to think that everybody is doing good. That's how I would like to view it. But it was very, very considerate of Lincoln to allow me on, allow the expert, allow Winning Reality, Valhalla, and really, open up his community and having fun with it. And all the other great people that were on there. I cannot remember everybody's name. I'm actually really bad with names. It takes a while for me to talk with people and get to know them before I actually remember everyone. Yeah, LC is a good guy. Absolutely. Very good people. He actually, sent some fine folks over that subscribe to me. And, I hope I don't disappoint too much. Hey, Corn Pope, look at this man right there. Corn Pope is awesome. Yeah, Aussies are cool. Yes, of course, Melissa Jane. Aussies are very cool. I mean, Australia doesn't exist, but that's okay. I have to go watch it. Whenever I left, I think it had been streaming for close to 12 hours. Maybe it was around the 8-hour mark, because I think we joined somewhere around the 6-hour mark. It was weird. Yeah, Corn Pope, the man. Yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time and fun. I mean, that's all I would suggest. Give you the middle finger. I'm a nice person. Melissa Jane is such a nice person, and you can give me the middle finger anytime. I don't take offense to it. I actually get a kick out of it. I find it funny. I find it very funny. But let's get on with our wonderful Tiny Darth Vader is going to use the Force on Shizzy's voice. Tiny Darth Vader will not get to my voice. Not at all. Not at all. Nah, I'm not nice. No, you're not. You're not. You're not nice at all. Liar. You're one of the nicest people I know. But we've got, let's see. Got all you wonderful people in chat. It's so great. And yeah, that's what I was after, because I am so discombobulated tonight. I don't know what that. Ooh, it's lack of sleep. That's what did it. Lack of sleep. 4 hours of sleep, and then I worked all day today, and I'm off tomorrow. But I've got to be up until, I don't know, at least midnight tonight, so I can get my my brisket on the smoker. So it'll be done by noon tomorrow. That's the goal. Get it done by noon. But I got all these storms that are rolling, and I can actually hear the thunder through my headphones. Well, I don't even need to have my headphones on, but I can hear the storms rolling in, and it's going to be a nice. Yeah, I've had those things on. Wow. Wonder if you guys can hear that. That one was a good one. That gets. I got a dog underneath my feet right now that's just hanging out and freaking out. But yeah, hopefully we don't lose any power. If I do lose power, did a 12-pound brisket today. Nice. I've got got a 7 pound brisket that'll be on the smoker tomorrow. Yeah, that'll be the good one. Yeah, it'll be yeah, I like it. We had something like an EMP outage down here where I am. Oh, dude, that sucks. Yeah, Squaw Bob's in Georgia also. Got Squaw Bob. We got Fast Group is in Georgia. We've got Winning Reality is in Georgia. Then you've got Valhalla in Tennessee. You've got The Expert in Tennessee. You got Rabbit. That's what I want to say, Kansas. Yes, Kansas. I'm pretty sure where all the sunflowers are. Kathleen is in Florida. We've got Daisy Girl that is in parts unknown. Melissa Jane is on a island that's like pretty damn big. She gets all the cool weather, but she is surrounded by water. There's no land masses connecting to her. It's just one big land mass. It's awesome. Let's see here. Find that. Share screen. There it is. Share. There we go. So, continuing on with our Federalist papers, and I guarantee some of these get a little bit better. I spoke with Cool Frog, and he's interested in coming on for a couple of these, but he also understands that it is a bit of a grind. The amount of words that are put into this, it's a lot, and it's a lot to take in. That's why I took it in smaller chunks to actually be able to handle the amount of work. Making pulled pork for tomorrow. Nice. Yeah, I actually made pulled pork before we left. Raining and gross today. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. God, that was such a beautiful sunrise. If you guys haven't seen Melissa Jane's like sunrise chasing, it is awesome. Her latest one was beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. Yes, making pulled pork. See, whenever I do my pulled pork, it comes out perfect every time. I've yet to be disappointed by it. Yet to be disappointed. And I like more of the Texas barbecue, which is done with beef, not pork. But I mean, I like both. My preference is beef whenever I'm doing barbecue. Yeah, it's, to me, I just like the flavor better. Love pork of any kind, actually. Yeah, we all do. We all we all like the meat. It's such good stuff. And not to say that I won't eat some vegetables, but that's my wife's fault. I blame her for it. She forces me to have vegetables. I'm just like, pork is awesome. Anyhow, so here we go. So another one written by James Madison. This is continued from number 8. Or number 9. Number 9. If you missed number 9, you can go back and watch the last half of my last stream on the Federalist Papers, and you'll see that that's where I tied 2 in together because I missed a couple of weeks. So I was trying to get as much done on that as I possibly could. So veggies are essential. I mean, you gotta have a vegetable, it's like, but they're, So, to the people of the state of New York, among the numerous advantages promised by a well-constructed union, none deserves to be more accurately developed than its tendency to break and control the violence of faction. The friend of popular governments never finds himself so much alarmed for their character and fate as when he contemplates their propensity to this dangerous vice. Tight. He will not fail, therefore, to set due value on any plan which, without violating the principles to which he is attached, provides a proper cure for it. The instability, injustice, and confusion introduced into the public councils have, in truth, been the mortal diseases under which popular governments have everywhere perished, as they continue to be the favorite and fruitful topics from which the adversaries to liberty derive their most spacious declamations. The valuable improvements made by the American constitutions on the popular models, both ancient and modern, cannot certainly be too much admired, but it would be unwarrantable partiality to contend that they have as effectually obviated the danger on this side as wished and expected. Complaints are everywhere heard from our most considerate and virtuous citizens, equally the friends of public and private faith, and of the public and personal liberty. Smoked beans with bacon and potato. Oh my gosh, that sounds good. Yeah, smoked beans with bacon, potato salad. Potato salad has to be done just right. Those potatoes got to be done perfect. And so what they're talking about here, what he is actually talking about here is that where governments are perishing because the adversaries to liberty derive their declamations from being how do you put it? I'm looking for the words. Whenever you don't set a value on your liberty, that's basically what he's saying here. The valuable improvements made by the American constitutions on popular models, both ancient and modern, cannot certainly be too much admired, but it would be unwarrantable partiality to contend they have effectually obviated the danger on this side as wished and expected. Complaints from everywhere heard from our most considerate and virtuous citizens, equally the friends of public and private faith, and of personal service, liberty, that our governments are too unstable. That's amazing that they're seeing this already. That the public good is disregarded in the conflicts of rival parties, and that measures are too often decided not according to the rules of justice and the rights of the minor party, but by the superior force of an interested and overbearing majority. However anxiously we may wish that these complaints had no foundation, the evidence of known facts will not permit us to deny that they are in some degree true. It will be found, indeed, on a candid review of our situation, that some of the distresses under which we labor have been erroneously charged on the operation of our governments. But it will be found at the same time that other causes will not alone account for many of our heaviest misfortunes, and particularly for the prevailing and increasing distrust of public engagements and alarm for private rights, which are echoed from one end of the continent to the other. These must be chiefly, if not wholly as in HOLY, it's holy. Hey, Cool Frog, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Effects of the unsteadiness and injustice with which factious spirit has tainted our public administrations. And this is where he's talking about the fracturing of our government, of our people, of what we're trying to make one union. And this is before, of course, the Constitution was ratified. Ratified being solidified, making it like a proper document. Yes, I mean, you could write a constitution, and if it's not adopted and ratified, then it pretty much can just sort of peter off pretty quickly, as we've seen in some countries. By a faction, I understand a number of citizens, whether amounting to a majority or a minority of the whole, who are united and actuated by some common impulse of passion or of interest, adverse to the rights of other citizens or to the permanent aggregate interests of the community. Let me read that again. Hey, T-Rex, good to see you. By a faction, I understand a number of citizens, whether amounting to a majority or a minority of the whole, who are united and actuated by some common impulse of passion or of interest. Think about that. A common passion or interest. I mean, that can be anything from a boycott to everybody becoming I don't know, Buddhists overnight because of some passion, that they will go against the rights of other citizens. And that was one of his concerns, is that you would have people easily being swayed over a flight of fancy. And there are two methods of curing those mischiefs of faction. The one by removing its causes, which, is not always good. The other by controlling its effects. There are again two methods of removing the causes of faction. The one by destroying the liberty which is essential to its existence. The other by giving to every citizen the same opinions, the same passions, and the same interests. So, again, what he's saying is you can destroy the liberty of the people that are pushing, let's use an example, ESG. So if people are pushing that ESG needs to happen because that's the new hip thing of the day, and one way you can do it is by destroying their liberty and not allowing them to practice ESG. Or you can give every citizen the same opinion, the same passions, and the same interests, and let them decide whether they want to adopt it or not, but not forcing other people to take it. It could never be more truly said than that of the first remedy that was worse than the disease. Liberty is to faction what air is to fire, an alignment without which it instantly expires. But it could not be less folly to abolish liberty, which is essential to political life because it nourishes faction, than it would be to wish the annihilation of air, which is essential to animal life because it imparts to fire its destructive agency. And I think he's making it very clear in this that yes, we could eliminate having ESG. We could eliminate all of the trans movements, the gay rights. We could eliminate, slavery. We could re-implement slavery. We could, create a system that is oppressive. And only in doing so would we be destroying our own liberty. And I think there's people in political factions that do understand this. And that's why they push crazy, well, at least to me and maybe half the population, they push crazy ideas knowing that the only way that you're going to be able to stop them is to remove that liberty, knowing that it will eventually remove your liberty. I think there's politicians that we currently have that we have to be very wary of whenever they say that there's going to be, hey, I'm trying to be nice here. I know there's way more than half, but I am trying to be nice. There are and whether it's a majority or a minority of people, all it takes is a small minority to try to push things through. And what he's saying here is destroying that by removing their liberties, to be able to practice things that you may not agree with, by eliminating their ability to do so. You're basically no better than what they're doing by trying to remove them in the first place. It becomes a self-fulfilling Oh, you don't have to be nice. That's a personal thing. But what he's talking about is the government as a whole, by trampling somebody else's rights. Let them do their thing, but make sure that they don't come after yours. That's their end goal. Their end goal is to remove all forms of liberty, because once they've removed all forms of liberty, it becomes the thing that they did not want to have happen. So removing liberty is their goal, and you can't let them do that. The people that are creating these kinds of policies, that they're doing it because they want to make sure that you disagree with it, knowing that there are people out there like Lindsey Graham that would burn the country down before they would give 1 square inch or even consider, and they would just watch it burn, because it doesn't matter to them, because you're plebes to them. So there you go. Yeah, I'm calling out Lindsey Graham, that he's a rhino, up front and center. Don't be worse than a disease. The second expedient is as impractical as the first would be unwise, as long as the reason of man continues fallible. He is at liberty to exercise it. Different opinions will be formed, as long as the connection subsists between his reason and his self-love. His opinions and passions will have reciprocal influence on each other, and the former will be objects to which the latter will attach themselves. The diversity of the faculties of men, from which the rights of property originate, is not less an insuperable obstacle to a uniformity of interest. The protection of these faculties is the first object of government. From the protection of different and unequal faculties of acquiring property, the possession of different degrees and kinds of property immediately results, and from the influence of these on the sentiments and views of the respective proprietors ensues a division of the society into different interests and parties. There he goes again with it. He's saying the same thing, just he words it much better than I do. The latent causes of faction are thus sown in the nature of man, and we see them everywhere brought into different degrees of activity. According to the different circumstances of civil society, a zeal for different opinions concerning religion, concerning government, and many other points, as well as of speculation and of practice, an attachment to different leaders, ambitiously contending for preeminence and power, or to persons of other descriptions whose fortunes have been interesting to the human passions, have, in turn, divided mankind into parties, inflamed them with mutual animosity, and rendered them much more disposed to vex and oppress each other than to cooperate for their common good. So strong is this propensity of mankind to fall into mutual animosities, that where no substantial occasion presents itself, the most frivolous and fanciful distinctions have been sufficient to kindle their unfriendly passions and excite their most violent conflicts. But the most common and durable source of factions has been the various and unequal distribution of property. Those who hold and those who are without property have ever formed distinct interests in society. Those who are creditors and those who are debtors fall under like a discrimination, a landed interest, a manufacturing interest, a mercantile interest, a moneyed interest, with many lesser interests grown up of necessity in civilized nations, and divide them into different classes, actuated by different sentiments and views. The regulation of these various and interfering interests forms the principal task of modern legislation, and involves the spirit of party and faction in the necessary and ordinary operations of the government. And again, I say, what he said right there, a veil for different opinions concerning whatever point it might be. You have in turn divided mankind into parties. Mutual animosity. These are things that are not good for a healthy society. Having this mutual animosity in our country is not doing it good. It's dividing it. This is what they want. Remember, 4th of July is right upon us. Tomorrow we'll be celebrating the 4th of July. That's us leaving a country, becoming our own group, our own party, our own person, and separating from the oppressive Brits, which at the time they were. There was a lot of reasons why we left Europe, why we left the United States, why people continued to come to this country, because it was a beacon, a shining beacon. And even the French knew that and gave us a damn Statue of Liberty to show that liberty above all was most important. That would be the first thing that people would see whenever they were hitting the shores of the United States. Can't disagree with it. No man is allowed to be a judge in his own cause because his interest would certainly bias his judgment, and not improbably corrupt his integrity. With equal, nay, the greater reason, a body of men are unfit to be both judges and parties at the same time. Yet what are many of the most important acts of legislation but so many judicial determinations? Not indeed concerning the rights of single persons, but concerning the rights of large bodies of citizens. And what are the different classes of legislators but advocates and parties to the causes which they determine? Is a law proposed concerning private debts? It is a question to which the creditors are party in one side and debtors on the other. Justice ought to hold the balance between them, yet the parties are and must be themselves the judges, and the most numerous party, or in other words, the most powerful faction, must be expected to prevail. And that's very important, especially what you're seeing currently with loan forgiveness. This is the justice should be held between both of them, and why it was so important that Supreme Court said, no, you can't do a debt forgiveness on loans. What about the creditors, the people that loaned out that money? Was it predatory? Sure. Then pass laws that makes it where they can't be so predatory, where they can't charge any certain amount of fee. But at the same time, you got to pay your loan, or don't take out a loan. It's only fair. I mean, you're taking out money to go to college, pay your shit. Pay it, every damn last penny of it. I mean, why? You think you can go to a car lot and get a car, and I didn't really like the car, so I'm just going to stop paying for it. And yeah, they'll take your car away. You can't keep it. Shall domestic manufacturers be encouraged, and in what degree, by restrictions on foreign manufacturers? Are questions which should be differently decided by the landed and the manufacturing class, and probably by neither, with a sole regard to justice and the public good. An apportionment of taxes on various descriptions of properties is an act which seems to require the most exact impartiality, yet there is perhaps no legislative act in which greater opportunity and temptation are given to a predominant party to trample on the rules of justice Every shilling at which they overburden the inferior number is a shilling saved to their own pockets. It is in vain to say that the enlightened statesman will be able to adjust these clashing interests and render them all subservient to the public good. Enlightened statesmen will not always be at the helm, nor in many cases can such an adjustment be made at all without taking into view indirect and remote considerations, which will rarely prevail over the immediate interest which one party may find in disregarding the rights of another or the good of the whole. And that's very important. It's really hard. It's a hard balancing act. There's a reason why we have 3 branches of government and not one. The interference to which we are brought is that the causes of faction cannot be removed. So, well, you understand, causes, those can't be taken away, and that the relief is only to be sought in the means of controlling its effects. So, hope everybody's clear on that. If a faction consists of less than a majority, relief is supplied by the republic principle, which enables the majority to defeat its sinister views by regular vote. It may clog the administration, it may convulse the society, but it will be unable to execute and mask its violence under the forms of the Constitution. When a majority is included in a faction, the form of popular government, on the other hand, enables it to sacrifice to its ruling passion or interest both the public good and the rights of other citizens, to secure the public good and private rights against the danger of such faction, and at the same time to preserve the spirit and the form of popular government. It is then to create object to which our inquiries are directed. Let me add that it is the great disturdium, I think I said that right, by which this form of government can be rescued from the obrum under which it has so long labored, and be recommended to the esteem and adoption of mankind. Like, everybody come together. Try to love one another right now. By what means is this object attainable? Eventually, by one of the two only. Either the existence of the same passion or the interest in a majority at the same time must be prevented, or the majority, having such coexistent passion or interest, must be rendered by their number and local situation unable to concert and carry into effect schemes of oppression. If the impulse and the opportunity be suffered to coincide, we will well know that neither moral nor religious motives can be relied on as an adequate control. They are not found to be such on the injustice and violence of individuals, and lose their efficacy in proportion to the number combined together. That is, the proportion as their efficacy becomes needful. We're all together on this now? I hope so. From this view of the subject, it may be concluded that a pure democracy, by which I mean a society consisting of a small number of citizens who assemble and administer the government in person, can admit of no cure for the mischiefs of faction. A common passion or interest will, in almost every case, be felt by a majority of the whole. A communication and concert result from the form of government itself, and there is nothing to check the inducements to sacrifice the weaker party or an obnoxious individual. Hence it is that such democracies have ever been spectacles of turbulence and contention, have ever been found incompatible with personal security or the rights of property, and have in general been as short in their lives as they have been violent in their deaths. Theoretical politicians who have patronized this species of government have erroneously supposed that by reducing mankind to a perfect equality in their political rights, they would at the same time be perfectly equalized and assimilated into their possessions, their opinions, and their passions. Again, they do not want a democracy. Our founding fathers did not want a democracy. They wanted a republic. Reason is, a democracy means you've got two hungry wolves and a sheep deciding what's going to be for dinner. That's how a democracy works. Two very hungry wolves and a hungry sheep are trying to decide what's going to be for dinner. I guarantee you, it's not going to be a wolf. About 90%. A republic, by which I mean a government in which the scheme of representation takes place, opens a different prospect and promises the cure for which we are seeking. Let us examine the points in which it varies from a pure democracy, and we shall comprehend both the nature of the cure and the efficacy which it must derive from the union. Hey, Caitlin, how you doing? Good to see you. See, I got to get Caitlin on here sometime soon. She's just got just this great energy and bubbly and happy all the time. She's a blast. You should definitely check her stuff out. She did a stream earlier with Winning talking about football. Imagine Caitlin talking about football. Now that's a fan right there. Let me guess. Nah, I'm not going to do that. You'll have to watch it if you want to see. It's good. It's very good. Man, I feel like I'm all stopped up. Give me just a second. I'm going to grab some water. I'll be right back. I'm going to stop. Just do this for just a second. I just got to get some water. So give me a second. Oof, I'm back. Sorry about that. I really needed some water. My throat was getting just completely dried out from talking. Probably because I've been doing it for multiple hours since 8 o'clock this morning with a 4-hour rest. Ooh, it'll take a lot out of your voice. Awesome. All right. And yes, it is a very large container of water. I'm going to say a bucket. And I'll probably finish that and have to get more by the end of the night. All right. So the two great points of difference between a democracy and a republic are, first, the delegation of the government in the latter to a small number of citizens elected by the rest. Secondly, the greater number of citizens and the greater sphere of country over which they may be extended. The effect of the first difference is, on the one hand, to refine and enlarge the public views by passing them through the medium of chosen body of citizens, whose wisdom may best discern the true interest of their country, and whose patriotism and love of justice will be least likely to sacrifice it to the temporal or partial considerations. But back driving, oh, that's awesome. Back driving, that's great. Yes, love it. We love it. Melissa Jane. Back but driving. She's speeding along down the highway, on the highway to hell. It may well happen that public the voice pronounced by the representatives. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll back up a little bit here. Under such regulation, it may well happen that public voice pronounced by the representatives of the people will be more constant to the public good than if pronounced by the people themselves convened for the purpose. On the other hand, the effect may be inverted. Men of factious tempers, of local prejudices, or of sinister designs may, by intrigue, by corruption, or by other means, first obtain the suffrages and then betray the interests of the people. The question resulting is whether small or extensive republics are more favorable to the election of proper guardians of the public weal, and it is clearly decided in favor of the latter by two obvious considerations. In the first place, it is to be remarked that, however small the republic may be, the representatives must be raised to a certain number in order to guard against the cabals of a few, and that, however large it may be, they must be limited to a certain number in order to guard against the confusion of a multitude. Hence, the number of representatives in the two cases not being in proportion to that of the two constituents, and being proportionally greater in the small republic, it follows that if the proportion of fit characters be not less than the large, then in the small republic, the former will present a greater option and consequently greater probability of fit choice. And they're just talking about how many people you should have per however many people are being ruled over. It's we're making those decisions to be those that are being swayed by a certain amount of people, and at the time they had a number in mind, and that can easily change. Oh, don't worry about it. You're fine. You're fine. You don't have to worry about it a bit at all. It's absolutely fine. Don't worry about being late. Oh yeah. You should definitely be subbing to Cool Frog and T3. Oh yeah. You want to get some spice. You go check out T3. You'll definitely get some spice from her. She's a blast. Yes, and definitely Melissa Jane. Yeah, Melissa Jane's. She's awesome. And of course, Kathleen, sorry. Got to get Caitlin. Yes, thank you. Caitlin. She was at 55 subs this afternoon. I'd like to see her hit 100 by the end of July, maybe even 200. Hell, I'd love to see her surpass me and end up with 1,000 subs within the next 2 months. That would be awesome. I'd love to see that. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. It must be confessed that in this, as in most other cases, there is a mean on both sides of which inconveniences will be found to lie. By enlarging too much the number of electors, you render the representatives too little acquainted with all their local circumstances and lesser interest, as by reducing it to too much, you render him unduly attached to these, and too little fit to comprehend and pursue great and national objects. Amazing that they're already thinking about this. And somewhere in all of our opining, in creating our democracy, we've lost sight of this wonderful thing that is supposed to be a republic, but is turned into democracy, is lost this one very important fact, that by enlarging too much the number of electors, you render representatives too little acquainted with all their local circumstances and lesser interests, as by reducing it too much, which means whenever they have too many people that they're in charge of, they can't comprehend and pursue great and national objects. And the Constitution forms a happy combination in this respect, the great aggregate interest being referred to the national and the local, and particular to the state legislatures. The other point of difference is the greater number of citizens and the extent of territory which may be brought within the compass of a republican than of a democratic government, and that this circumstance principally which renders factions combinations less to be dreaded in the former rather than the latter. The smaller the society, the fewer probably will be the distinct parties and interests composing it. The fewer the distinct parties and interests, the more frequently will a majority be found of the same party. And the smaller the number of individuals composing a majority, and the smaller the compass within which they are placed, the more easily they will concert and execute their plans of oppression. Extend the sphere, and you will take a greater variety of parties and interests. You make it less probable that a majority of the whole will have a common motive to invade the rights of other citizens. Very important, invading the rights of other citizens. Oh, absolutely. Definitely. Come by, say hi. Or if such common motive exists, it will be more difficult for all who feel it to rediscover their own strength and to act in unison with each other. Besides other impediments, it may be remarked that where there is a consciousness of unjust or dishonorable purposes, communication is always checked by distrust in proportion to the number whose concurrence is necessary. Sorry. Yes, I spent most of my day on the phone today talking with just people, crazy people. Hence, it clearly appears that the same advantage with which a republic has over a democracy in controlling the effects of faction, it is enjoyed by a large over a small republic, is enjoyed by the union over the states composing it. Does the advantage consist in the substitution of representatives whose enlightened views and virtuous sentiments render them superior to local prejudices and schemes of injustice? Well, it will not be denied that the representation of the Union will be most likely to possess these requisite endowments. Does it consist in the greater security afforded by a greater variety of parties against the event of any one party being able to outnumber and oppress the rest? To an equal degree, does the increased variety of parties comprised within the Union increase the security? Does it, in fine, consist in the greater obstacles opposed to the concert and accomplishments of the secret wishes of an unjust and interested majority? Here again, the extent of the Union gives it the most palpable advantage. The influence of factions leaders may kindle a flame within their particular states, but will be unable to spread a general conflagration throughout the other states. A religious sect may degenerate into a political faction in part of the Confederacy, but the variety of sects dispersed over, I said sects, not sex, dispersed over the entire face of it, must secure the national councils against any danger from that source. A rage for paper money, for abolition of debts, for an equal division of property, or for any other improper or wicked project. Let me read that again so you understand what they're talking about, because clearly we've forgotten this. A rage for paper money, for an abolition of debts, for an equal division of property, or for other improper or wicked project. So they're calling all of that wicked projects. These are the same people that wrote the Constitution. They realize if you're abolishing debts or asking for an equal division of property, or for any other improper or wicked project, right there, pay attention, will be less apt to pervade the whole body of the Union than a particular member of it. So keep reading. In the same proportion as such a malady is more likely to taint a particular county or district than an entire state, until the state adopts these kinds of improper or wicked projects. In the extent and proper structure of the Union, therefore, we behold a Republican remedy for the diseases most incident to a Republican government, according to the degree of pleasure and pride we feel in being Republicans, ought to be our zeal in cherishing the spirit and supporting the character of Federalists. And we will go to the next one, because I'm not sure if it continues on in 11, but if it does, we will continue on. Nope, it doesn't. So you guys get a break from me. We could talk about other things. How does that feel? How you like me now? Yes, thank you for subbing. Definitely. Thanks for subbing to T3. We want to see her get to 1,000 subs also. Get her monetized. That'd be awesome. And we've got, who else we got in here? Well, pretty much all the usual folks, plus Kathleen. Oh, it's special though, because I know there will be people that come back and they'll watch this on the flip side, which will be awesome. They will come in, they'll see it in Rumble. I'll have multiple views over there. Those folks that are coming over on Rumble, come in whenever I've got a live show. I know that I do them a little bit earlier than a lot of other folks. But we've got, good stuff that covers all the bases. If you don't like this particular topic or you find it uninteresting, just wait, because I cover multiple topics. I'll do a little bit of sharing your link. Sorry, doing some fireworks and family while listening. No, that's awesome. You should be doing that. Spend time with the family, do some fireworks, and kick back. This is 4th of July. There, don't forget why the 4th of July exists. This is us leaving that most perfect monarchy and striking out on our own. And it's a great step that the United States took, and I think that everyone should be proud of the country that they live in. Whether you're from Italy, France, Australia, United States, it doesn't matter. You should be proud of your country. I mean, you may disagree with certain aspects of it, or you may disagree with your next door neighbor, but that's not the country's fault. Give it a good foundation. You end up with You end up with something really nice. I've got to get sleep tonight. I know I do, because it's going to be wild and crazy for 4th of July. Thunderstorms rolling in is not a bad thing here. The puppies hide as I got one under my feet right now that's not wanting to move. And then you've got a nice 4th of July party that will be happening tomorrow. People will be lighting explosives, and the dogs will again freak out, and I'll have to deal with them. So I may just end up streaming tomorrow. I don't know. Or if someone drops me an invite, I may go on with them. It just depends on what happens first. Like if someone had a stream and said, "Hey, why don't you come and hang out for an hour or two?" Then I would be totally up for that. And if there's not, then I may just stream something, like just for something to do, because I won't be able to. I don't go out in large groups of people. I try to avoid that as much as possible. It's not that I have like a phobia or a fear of that. I just don't like being around large groups of people. That's just me. I mean, I can be. It's just not my preference. I'm very protective of my wife, and so I have my head on a swivel 100% of the time. If I'm by myself, sometimes I'm fine, but yeah, oh man, I got something in my eye, my finger. Yep, that happens. Links are getting posted for some. Yeah, absolutely. We've got some fantastic creators. America is lucky in this climate to be in a republic. America is a republic, but it's turning more and more towards a democracy. That is what both the left and the right are pushing for. If you're talking political class, that's what they're pushing for. They're pushing for more of a democracy, because then they can decide how much money they're going to get paid. And trust me, whenever you're pulling in 6 figures, it's not bad. Get elected, 6 figures, lots of room, and then you can vote for yourself to have a raise. Gotta love that. Got to love that. So crazy that we live in a wonderful country that has allowed it to go weird and crazy. Comments will streaming to multiple YouTube channels. Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. I love reading some of the information that StreamYards gives you. Oh, it's so crazy. Unless you're one of us. Was it Ronald Reagan who said, "If you can keep it"? I think there's been a lot of politicians that have said that. If you can keep it. I mean, California was look back to the 70s and 80s, and you'll see that most of the blue states, this would have been around the time that you had Jimmy Carter. Whenever people actually voted Jimmy Carter in, that the South was very blue. Florida, Texas, I don't think New Mexico was. But just look at the political map of the states that actually brought Jimmy Carter into becoming president. It was very blue. California was red. Arizona, New Mexico, Washington, like the whole West Coast going across the upper states, Minnesota, everywhere. I mean, it was blue or red as red can be. And over a period of time, it turned and flipped around. I don't know if it was people moving to those locations and bringing their bad policies along with them, because, well, it seems that that's what a lot of people will do whenever their city starts to go to the dump. They tend to go to a place and vote in the same policies that they tried to get away from in the first place. And it happens on both sides, the red and the blue, it times shift, policies shift, even your own beliefs shift. Mine have over many, 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 many years. Although I've always been, what do you call it, dyed in red, Republican from the time that I could vote. I was Republican. Doesn't mean that I always agreed with the Republican politicians. There was people that I decided to vote for that, I thought would make better presidents, congressmen, whatever. But, every presidential election, except for a couple, I voted Republican. And then whenever I didn't agree with the politician, I would turn around and vote a little bit on either Libertarian Party or just whatever else made better sense or sounded better. And it's probably not the best way to go, but like I said, being young and not knowing the difference, but having some sort of political belief, even if it's slightly misguided. I mean, I can say that I voted for Bush. Shame on me. I agreed with at the time. I agreed with what he was doing, for Patriot Act. And I comes to find out that that was probably a bad idea, and I can't blame anybody but myself for agreeing to it. So that's just how it goes. Whatever. Crazy, but true. Well, with all that being said, me and my long-winded sorry ass, I know that we've probably got some people that will be doing a show tonight. I guarantee you there's always someone coming on. All I have to do is just look. More than likely you'll have the expert does one, I think. You've got Mighty Meat over there. Of course, you got Umbrella. Aussie, he's live. He started 2 hours ago. Gosh, dog. He is the man. Love the Hayden. He is such a great person. And then we've got, that's really it. Legal Mindset. He's doing a premiere. I like Legal Mindset. He's fun. Well, thanks, Corn Pope. I appreciate it. And as I was saying, I've got. I also do a thing on some cults, and it's not all just cults. Some of it's the anti-cult, which is Aussie finished. Damn, see. But I know Mighty Meat, he started 48 minutes ago, and he says, Declaration of Independence, documents that made America serious. Yes, that's what he's covering, the documents for the Declaration of Independence. Man, sorry. I was hoping that Aussie would be going a little bit longer. Maybe he learned and started just cutting it down to the 2 hour limit. I actually had to do the same thing, and I do try to limit myself. Like last night, that was crazy. Plus, I was drinking on top of that, so yeah, it was. My wife tried waking me up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Is that I just didn't even open my eyes. Like, I was done. But 4 hours of sleep was perfect. He is running in 2 hours. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's smart. That's really smart. Yeah, I started cutting my content back because I I want to have the ability to be able to go over the 2 hour mark, especially if it's something that I'm really interested in, really covering, really passionate about. I don't want to be constrained, but if I limit myself to those 2 hours and run under, it makes it easier for me to keep my voice, for one. And so as I was saying, because I get distracted all the time with my own thoughts. I've got a series that I do that's covering the cults, the anti-cults, and that's one of them that I'm covering currently. Really interesting character, John Wayne Todd, also known as John Collins, and a bunch of other stuff. But I've got his audio tapes of something that I heard whenever I was a young teenager. Well, even before being a young teenager, that my mother, my mother was very much into this person, and influenced a lot of her actions and reactions, where she was really into the satanic panic. There were witches around every corner. There were demons in every aspect of life. Jimmy Carter was the Antichrist. I mean, you name it. My mother believed it. It was easy for her to have those conspiracies running rampant in her. And this is something that I try to avoid. It's sometimes unavoidable. I try to avoid the conspiracy theories. Dropping a like and some love. Thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate it. Well, thanks, Rabbit. I'm glad I'm glad to know that I look good when I'm tired. Literally my dad. Yeah, you did. Okay. Literally your dad was the same way. Yeah. So having these tapes and listening to them with you guys, you might get a little bit of insight of where a lot of my anti-religion comes from. Like, I don't see anything wrong with it. I think people should have a belief and a core belief system, whatever that might be, whether you're Buddhist, Christian, Jewish, doesn't matter. Catholic, whatever. Protestant, doesn't matter. Have a good core belief system and own it. That's your belief. But also not tell somebody else that they cannot have it, that they cannot have that belief, because they're going to burn and go to hell if they haven't accepted Lord Jesus Christ as their personal Lord and Savior. I mean, you're going to tell that to somebody that's Jewish that doesn't follow that sort of teach. That's whenever it becomes very judgmental and hypocritical. I question it. Nothing wrong with that. If someone doesn't like it, then cool. I mean, our church, our country was founded, because of religion. There was certain inalienable rights that they believed were given to us by our Creator. Unless you just happen to be one of them, they're dark-skinned kind of peoples, and then, we don't know what to say about that. No, I kid. That was not, the belief of every single American at that period of time. There were people that didn't agree with it, but also, how are you going to fight against a mass of people that, we are the first country to free slaves like that. So, just saying, not proud. Our country probably can't be too proud of the way they acted. Oh, excellent. Mr. Malloy is live currently. There you go. Mr. Malloy being live. That's a pretty good thing. I like Mr. Malloy. Yeah, we got Mr. Malloy, the umbrella guy, Adam Krigler's going on. I'm surprised that Lincoln Kane isn't going. He went for a long time. Thursday on Winning, is slavery racist? Nice. I don't know. I have family that were slaves. Doesn't mean, black or white. I mean, in this country it did, but there were Chinese slaves. There still are Chinese slaves. There were, people from all walks of life. Their ancestors have probably been enslaved by other people's ancestors at some point in time. I mean, it's interesting to think about, but we're not unique in this country to have that. Love history. Well, I'm not great at history, but winning. There you go. History night on Thursdays for winning. Nice. Yeah. Winning is good people. Winning is really good people. As you probably saw last night, whenever he was on with Lincoln, it was a blast. Okay, got to get out of the car and get to work. Excellent, Melissa Jane. Well, you have a wonderful one, and Melissa Jane, and I'm actually going to be probably cutting my stream here in about 5 or 6 minutes, and I'll end it the same way that I try to end everything, with the little bit of love and kindness being shown to all of my chat. I know a lot of you folks will probably catch this on the rerun. Man, I don't want to work. Well, you don't have to work if you don't want to. It ties into what you two talk about. The root causes of racism and cultists and stuff. Yeah, it's very true. Oh, thanks, Melissa Jane. We love you a long time. No, it's gonna, that I'm very grateful for my chat. All of these content creators that have shown support from different places, like all over the place. I think T3 was the first one to actually have me on for a one-on-one live stream. My first with being a guest, being the only guest, and she actually asked me, you want me to bring some other people on here? And I think we ended up with Cool Frog and Darth Hideous and Moose. Maybe it was Moose winning. I mean, it was just all these people came in. I think Madcore came in, maybe even the Expert. Just all of these wonderful people came in. All of these other content creators came in, hung out, and it was a feeling of welcome, and poke fun at you, poke fun at each other, and everybody had such a great time. And that was my first experience with it. Hey, winning, see, start saying his name and look who comes running around. And of course, yeah, everybody's so happy to see you. See, yeah, a 4-hour plus stream. Yes, it went on. And then, God, if I'm not mistaken, there was a short lull in between, and went over to somebody else's channel, and it went on for another 6 hours over there, and then somebody else's channel. That's why Winning puts in their ever stream, just constant stream of people showing up, hanging out, having a good time, talking, and having a blast. And those will happen often in this realm. And there's nothing like having good friends making the same kind of content and sharing views. Even if we disagree on something, we realize we're all in this space together, and it's a good, happy family. But all that being said, this is where I am grateful again for all of you wonderful subs that have joined me coming over from Lincoln. And I know that we've got, our regulars that come in and check out the show. They hit the like. Sometimes they leave comments. Sometimes they throw apples at me, which is fine too. It's always a good thing. But I can see that, let's see, we've had no views over on Rumble at all. But that's cool because I know that it'll end up getting a couple hundred views. We need to do another stream together. Yes, we will do another stream together. I'm working on getting one with Caitlin happening. Her stream with winning was awesome today. I got a chance to check that out. I was in the middle of work and was able to listen to it. It was so much fun. So much fun. She's got good energy, like very cheerful, and I really like that. I really like that, where you just got this person that just has a smile and they're bubbly, and you know, it makes for really good entertainment. And that she only has, she probably has more by now, but 55 subs was it. I was like, nah, she's got to have more than that. Like she's fun. She's very fun. Anyhow, I'm going to close this thing out. And again, everybody, 4th of July tomorrow. I don't know if I'm able to do if I'm going to be able to do a stream or not tomorrow, but we'll see. If somebody else is streaming, drop me an invite. If not, I may run a game or something like that and just, talk trash. Oh, speaking of games, I did pick up the Hogwarts game, and I'm like a couple hours into it. It's pretty crazy game. They did really well with it. If I can figure out how to get rid of the unsyncing of the voice with whatever, doesn't matter. But I might, maybe I'll stream that tomorrow just for shits and giggles. That'll be a blast. But on that, everybody, be good to one another, show some love, and remember, we're a republic. And to everybody, if I miss anything, happy 4th of July. Peace, y'all.